The Resilient, I'm ready. We've got my dear friend, my brother from another mother, Mr. Brian Bradley. Welcome, welcome, brother. It's good to see you.
Great to see you, buddy. Great to see you.
It was amazing to catch up again last week in Germany. And woo!
Sorry, that's a French bulldog who thinks he's a Rottweiler. Go ahead.
I love it. I love it. It really was great to see you, brother, and thank you for just all the magic that you're creating. For those that don't know you, I'm gonna just quickly share a little bit about the magic that you're on. You know, Brian is on a mission. He's really been around. I've gotten to meet this great man 5 years ago, when I started on my journey with Tony Robbins, but he's been since helping millions of people learn how to live healthier, pain-free lives and really achieve complete fitness in so many ways. Frequent speaker at multiple different industry events, as going into Tony Robbins organizations, corporations, different nonprofits, high level performance. Really focusing on chronic pain, healthy living, high level performance and development. And his clients really include these Bulletproof Radio, YPO, Seattle Study Club, a lot of the NFL, and of course a lot of the Tony Robbins community. So brother, you're always creating so much insight and development. And one of the fundamental things that I, with coming back and always listening and observing and paying attention, is I'm hearing so much more of the depth of the things that you're sharing. Like even when you pulled me on stage, focusing on the pull instead of the push, and communicating that with the level of our physiology, with the level of how we're sitting and how we're behaving, and bringing that level of depth into my awareness. The more that I come back, was something that I really found profound. So I just want to thank you again for coming on the show again, once again, and just thank you for being you, my bro.
I appreciate it. And yeah, it's always odd when people kind of read a bio about you and different things about it and stuff like that. And it's like where you go, if I gave you a book or you saw a movie 5 years ago versus today, your interpretation of that movie is 5 years different. You already know what's going to happen at the end. We've all talked about this at different events. If I watch Man on Fire, I already know that Denzel Washington is on fire and he's going to do what he needs to do. But my own life experiences allow me 5 years later to have a different experience with that movie. I'm for sure in a different experience, in life, 56 years young. The stuff that I'm able to do physiologically right now is a joke. Like what I'm able to do physically, I'm now reaping the benefits of the work that I put into my earlier self.
Hmm.
So one of our big discussion points is, why would you start doing exercises if you don't have pain? Why would you do some functional postural exercise without pain? It's a deposit in your future self. And if we just mic dropped and walked out of the room right there, that's enough for people to go, that's a deposit in my future self.
Right.
Wow. I want to make some deposits in my future self. I'm investing in the Vanguard funds. I'm investing in NVIDIA. I'm doing all kinds of financial stuff. But what are you doing as it relates to your physical and your emotional, mental? Of course, we understand the very important part of that. But if you don't get your physical underneath you, and that could be something as little as somebody posted the other day on Instagram where they were just laying on their back in the airport saying, well,
Hmm.
Brian Bradley convinced us this would be good when we're waiting for our next flight. If that's all they got from my talks on stage in Germany, I'm good. I'm
Yep.
good. That 5 minutes at the airport could be a 11-hour flight that I had back from Munich to San Diego. It was 11 hours. But I trained to sit in the chair built by the lowest bidder. for 11 hours. Whereas I'm watching people on the plane, I'm like, oh my God, they got to be miserable. There's no way they're breathing correctly. And all they do is they consume, they consume, they consume because they're looking for a stimulus boost from
Yeah.
alcohol and caffeine and, you know, uh, super processed foods, versus going, the flight attendant kept coming by. Are you sure you don't want anything? I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Because I prep my own stuff in my bag, before I go, and simple things that I know will work for me. Um, I can't stress enough how the triangle of life, when you're looking at emotional and mental, that base is the physiological, which we all know. And even Tony in the world talk about, state changes physiologically and make your move and all these different things. But for the people who aren't in that world, I have people in chronic pain daily who don't just say to themselves, I deserve better. A lot of them say, I deserve this.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy of this and this and this and this. And I know that 50% of the work that I do and my colleagues do, I know that 50% of it is getting you to change your mindset from I'm broken to things are just slightly off and there's a reason for them. And that's why when I had you on stage, when I was saying whole life instead of push against it, pull it in, live it, feel it, enjoy it. Yeah, but it's a shitty moment. That's okay. Shitty moments happen. People die, divorces, work, kids, shit happens.
Well, you actually this, by the way, brother, like remember when we talked maybe about a year ago, I was in Australia and I was having that shitty moment. You know what I mean? Like I was having a really shitty moment and you jumped on the call with me and you're able to just really help me break through my own victim mindset in that moment to say, hey, like it's okay, you'll figure it out. You'll get through it. And I want you to know how integral that moment was for me, because it gave me the guidance that I needed, and you like it were able to anchor a moment when in time where you also showed up for a mutual friend of ours in the past as well, and we're able to remind him, like who you are, and you did that for me in that moment, and it gave me it gave me so much conviction, and it's so fascinating how uh these conversations, these moments where we get to show up for one another, it then creates these like synchronicities that allow us to really take even more responsibility in our own lives. And so I just want to acknowledge that because it really was something I haven't shared with you yet, but I wanted to really
No, I
I'll
remember
let
it.
you know.
I
Yeah,
remember
how
it.
me. Yeah,
You were not you at that moment. I mean, it was the authentic you, but it's not the guy that I knew. And it's my job at that point to recognize something and say, again, shit happens. Now, what are you going to do about it? It's a metaphor for sports. It's sports are the metaphor for this stuff. Crappy situations where superstar, 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 you're no longer relevant. You better be ready. Um,
yeah.
it's empty nest when your kid goes to college. Parent, parent, parent. I'm needed. I'm needed. I'm needed. Wait a minute. I'm not needed. Holy cow. Every aspect of life has this. And I'll tell you where I see this, Eric, is a lot is people come in and their bodies show it. They come in and they're just defeated. I had a meeting on Sunday with one of my clients from Boston who was in San Diego. And she said, I almost didn't come on this trip. Thank you for meeting me. And I said, well, I don't meet anybody on a Sunday. I said, that's my family time. I said, but you're out here. I'm going to make time to do it. Let's go. And she said, well, thank you so much. And everything was about me. Oh, Brian, you're so kind. Thank you. This. I said, listen, hear me out. And I don't want to sound too harsh, but stop complimenting me, because that shows what you're doing is not about you. You're trying to make this about me. I'm here for you. Respect my time as I with yours, and let's talk about you. That's why you're here. Now, you can take offense to that, and I'm okay with that. You cannot take offense to that, and I'm okay with that. Because that's all your shit. My discussion with her was strictly 100%
Beautiful.
about a statement where she said, I told my husband I didn't want to come on this trip because I was going to be a burden to him.
Hmm.
And she saw my face, and I was just like, and she goes, what? And I said, oh, I so badly want to get violent right now. You know, I'm joking with her, and I'm already friends with her. So I go, I'm emotionally violent right now. She goes, what do you mean? I said, that statement pisses me off as a man. As a man, if I'm married to you, and how dare you say to me, you should go on the trip without me because I'll just be a burden to you. I signed up for better or for worse.
Amen.
And we're in this worse situation right now. But again, she had a tendency to make it about her and her injury and her belief system, and always wanting to make sure everybody else is comfortable, so that even when she was making it about her, she never really wanted to solve the problem. And you're killing my therapist who's working with you, who is so focused on trying to get you well, when there's no chance of getting you well because you identify with not being worthy or well. So I have to change the mind of my therapist to go like this: stop chasing the end result. That's your end result. What is her end result? I just want to feel supported. I'm here for you. That's it. I'm here for you. Well, is that it? And I go, yeah. Pain-free is not in your future? No problem. Until it will be, when she reaches a point. And that's why sometimes I'll mention books like, yep, I have it right here. I'll mention books like this.
Hmm. Such a great book.
Game changer,
And
dude.
Search for Meaning. Wow.
Game changer book. Viktor Frankl, all that stuff that they're going to try to make a movie out of it, all these different things now. When you're dealt the cards that are that shitty, and you can
And you
still keep
figure,
your eye on, there's a positive out there somewhere. I'm not going to die yet because I'm going to find them. Dude, it's like the Last of the Mohicans movie, you know, where he said, stay alive, I will find you. One of the most emotional moments in a movie. And I watch it again and again going, let's fucking go. Right? Like, I feel like I'm in the movie at that point because it was, and that's exactly what the music does and all these other things, but because it pertains to things in my life, you know, that are important to me. You know, why do I do this type of work? I get off on it. I love it. It
I can
fills
see.
my need for significance is fulfilled daily by doing this. I don't look at a need for significance as a negative when you can channel it into a positive. Where somebody would say, that's your significance talking. Okay. Well, you got to stifle that. I don't know. Because what you call negative, I call fuel.
Hmm.
And so I guess and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but where I live right now, I'm not.
I think if somebody saw it as significant, it would mean that they think it's significant. So it would be a projection of their own perspective. Whereas from you, it's coming from a space of contribution and growth in your own way. And as a result, when we fill those spiritual needs, the rest of the human needs already just as a byproduct get filled.
Yeah. And listen, it's, I don't know what direction you want this to go today and, whatever we have to talk about. You can go to 1,000 different ways, but chronic pain and limitation are a fact of life,
Right.
but they don't have to be part of your compelling future moving forward. You can actually invest now into your future self. Like, to me, that's such a powerful statement.
So this is actually something profound because this is one of the main reasons why I was able to take more responsibility of my life is when my father had asked me to go to rehab when I was a crack addict, to see if I can go to rehab to take responsibility of my future self. If you can't do this for me, Eric, it's okay. And if you can't even do this for yourself, that's fine as well. But could you possibly do this for your future self? And it changed something inside of me that gave me enough leverage, that my spirit gave me enough certainty to figure it out and move forward. And this is something that is profound because that question, although like as a young boy, I didn't know why I existed or what my purpose was or what my reason for living was. It was my primary question for the longest part of my life. And I discovered that at Date with Destiny. However, the experience of that question with my father asking me that, I realized it gave me the anchor and the trigger to redefine and understand my primary question. And so I think that this is something that I imagine is a great way to really funnel our energy today is focusing on, our future selves, because ultimately what we're all here to do is to leave this planet, this experience, these relationships, this community better than when we found it. This is my hallucination.
When I was growing up, I don't even know if I ever said once in my life, what's my life's purpose? I had such a and I do. I have such a profound faith in who I call God that I was like this. I'm good. It's happening exactly the way it should.
Wow.
Now, I didn't do stupid shit. I wasn't a drinker and driver and drug and all that stuff. But I had the same addiction to lifting weights, making people laugh, playing ping pong. Uh, I never went like, from a belief system of girl to girl to girl to girl to girl. Like, I never went to significance with that. It was always one of these, if I'm dating somebody, I'm dating somebody, that kind of stuff. It was just us. Um, but as you get older, you start realizing that where are you in life now and where's life taking you? Like, I've never questioned. And I think that's why the universe provided 34 years ago an
Mhm.
opportunity to look at the human body another way. Like,
Mhm.
I remember the meeting that the physical therapist I was working with said, I met with this company. They're not hiring physical therapists because they don't do physical therapy. But I think that you, as an exercise phys guy, athletic trainer, you're going to find this pretty interesting. And I was a workout guy and played rugby and all these different things. So I was an athlete and prided myself on my performance. It fed my significance to look a certain way, all that BS. Which, let me show you a picture. I can't believe I'm
Please.
going to do this. I cannot believe I'm going to show you this.
I can.
I don't even. All you got to know is look at the hair, and you're going to go, dude, bro.
Oh yeah.
Look,
Wow. That's
look,
you. You're a bodybuilder.
look at that. That's the hair
Wow.
hanging down in the back, dude.
The
Like,
mullet.
yes, but I was attempting it because it was so significance driven. I looked at it now. I look at it and go, it was always because I can look at it now and even 30 years ago, just go, man, Brian, you were training so hard. And where I'm at now, like, I look at that guy and go, you were training hard for this reason. And the stuff I do now, bigger, faster, stronger, maybe not as lean because, I just love food in general. And I look at it and go, but you're so much happier. You're so much, there's nothing someone could say that I wouldn't view it as a gift. Back then, I would have viewed something and said, well, I can't believe they think of me that way. Do I look big enough? Do I look strong enough? Do I, because we all worked in a nightclub and we were all doormen there, and who was the bigger, faster, stronger, blah, blah, blah. And now, now I look at this kind of stuff and I'm going, and I make sure that with my son, that he has kind of the same mindset. And I will tell him, when I was younger, I went to the gym for this reason.
Yeah.
And I said, I applaud you, even though I don't know if it's true at that point. I go, I applaud you if you're coming from a different place of why you work out, which makes him think, why do I work out?
That's right.
And he gets such good gains, and he's like, hey, let's do creatine together. Okay, let's get some creatine. We'll do some creatine, which honestly I think is cheating because it's so damn effective in the gym. It's unbelievable, the stuff that can happen when you're on creatine. But it's so good for your mind, and there's a lot of studies going into Alzheimer, dementia stuff as it relates to just overall body health with creatine. But
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
oh, massive. It's no longer just about that, right? It's about what it's doing for your brain health. Like, seriously, it's the most studied supplement on the market, but now they're really getting into what's it doing metabolically versus build your bicep. If you think about that, if I'm not wrong, like you have ATP, it's the energy system within the cell. And then when you start working out, it's like almost like you take ATP, adenosine triphosphate, you take the tri away, you lose it, it becomes ADP. And I could be completely wrong here, but this works. The creatine fills the ATP back up.
Yeah.
And that's why you have almost like unlimited energy in the gym going, let's go again. Like, what is going on? And the reason I say that, if that's doing that during tricep presses and, whatever, what's it doing to your brain matter? What's it doing to your cellular response? And I'm sure somebody on here is a bigger expert into it than I am. But I can tell you that was one of my connection points with my kid was, let's do creatine together. As he was getting into college, soccer and lifting and all that kind of stuff. And being bigger, faster, stronger on the field was a big deal, not to get pushed over. And, but it's, we go down these roads of why we make decisions and work out. And, I'm in a field that I guess looking a certain way sells what I do. Like if I walked in and said, I'm here to help your posture, and I'm sitting like this, you may not believe me. But because I can command a room and walk in and go, let's go, any level. Tony Robbins was 16,000 people total. 4 days later, I was in Washington teaching to 85 dentists and hygienists. They're the same crowd to me, just different energy levels at that event, but they all want the same thing. Nobody cares about what I do. Nobody cares. If Eric, if you ask me, what do you do, Brian? I would say, well, I do posture pain performance and if I just said what I do. How about why you do it? Oh, well, that was a story about me blowing out my knee and I got better and blah, 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 blah. You still don't want to buy from me yet on the what and the why. Where you want to buy is when I say, Eric, why do you ask? Well, I asked because I have chronic back pain and neck pain and blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, we're going to run you through some stuff. And by the end of today, you're going to have no pain. And then you go, so you're telling me today I'll feel better. I don't believe you. I go, I don't care whether you believe me or not. Your body will not fail you. Here we go. Now I'm in fight mode. Now I'm in here we go mode. Savage. Now I'm on a mission. Because by the time we're done, you will fall in love with yourself again. And right now, you have a doubt. Your body's failing you. When every Navy SEAL, every Marine Corps, every Ranger, every Delta guy will tell you, your body will quit before, your mind will quit before your body ever does. Your mind will quit before your body ever does. Get out of your head, get into your heart. You'll know in 10 minutes whether I'm right or wrong. And that's why doing these events, I can take somebody language wise and movement wise, and say, that's why you feel more balanced right now. And 20,000 people go, you got to be shitting me. Like, and I go, okay, now sit down in the chair built by the lowest bidder. And they sit down in the chair built by the lowest bidder. Your chair feels better, doesn't it? And I see the room. Yes. It feels better because you changed the butt going into it. You changed the alignment going into it. And the alignment is an analogy for alignment rather than take over, which is where you were when you were in that little down spot. And we've all had down spots.
Yep.
But when you can take a shitty situation and go, thank you for the gift. What am I supposed to learn from this? Thank you for the gift, but no thank you if it's hurting my feelings. You know, I have a t-shirt that says, I'm not for everybody. I'm not. I swear a lot. I'm pretty harsh, but nobody cares more than I do. I know that. My goal, and how do I know that? Because it feeds my significance, bro. I get off on it. I know what's important to me. By the time we're done, you may never want to work with me again, but you'll never deny that that guy busted his ass and cared for me. I don't like him. And I'm okay with that because it's about you. It's not about me.
Yep. Bro, this is like do unto others as you would like to have done unto yourself, the golden rule of life. And I really love it because you really bring this to your work. You bring it to your principles. And when we integrate in that level of principles to everything that we do, we start to I mean, Tony says this all the time, the meaning of living is giving, right? And the golden rule of giving to others as you would like to have done unto yourself is a mission. It changes like from our work or job from to our work to a mission, and then as a result we start to, from my perspective, really see each other, really see the reverence of the wisdom that's being created from each other's map of the world, and then we learn to harmonize. So I'm curious, for people that may or may not be hearing us, why did you get into the experience of creating this level of alignment with yourself so that the room of 20,000 people or the room of 85 can also recognize the importance of this internal, I would say, communication that the body is triggering to the world around them? Because I believe that that's what the body does. The physiology communicates coherently by us paying attention and observing another person's body and physiology. It creates a lot more certainty when we're able to speak with that level of conviction. Another person receives us even more in that space. So, and I mean, I imagine you're seeing that when you're on stage and you're seeing the room respond.
Those of you who are watching this, I just saw it with you. When you said the word certainty, at the exact moment you said that, you sat up and came toward the camera. You didn't even, like, you're sitting comfortably, but you sat up and it was like the certainty. Okay, great. All I can think about is this.
Yeah.
How do you view the old you, the crack addicted you? How do you view it?
In today's perspective, I observed that boy as a man that was, or a boy that really felt insignificant, unworthy, not aware of his own experience, of what he was here to cultivate, and so very lost and seeking, curious.
Okay. Close your eyes. Now, how do you view that kid?
Sad.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not that all the other stuff was bullshit,
Yeah.
but when your eyes are open, you can see other people staring at you and you're going, I got to give an answer here. But when you close your eyes, it's just you. And it gives you a much different perspective. You only gave me one word. You
Yeah.
didn't go
And you
into a
felt
diatribe. Yeah.
yeah.
That just, and then you just go, it's not that you need to forgive him because he's part of you. It's not that you're forgiving him. It's almost like we have to go back and go, hey, buddy, we're sorry you went through that. But thank you for having to go through it because it created who I am now. That little motherfucker had to go through the shit to invest in your future self. And you're not done. The guy you are now is investing in the next level. You would not believe how many people come to us with, and I'm not qualified to do anything but listen. But I'm also not overly educated where I read something and I instantly judge where you are and I have a solution for it. That's not what that person's looking for.
Yeah.
They're just looking for somebody to talk to. That little kid is looking for somebody to talk to. Keanu Reeves is one of my favorite people on the planet. For one reason, and it sure as hell isn't the Matrix movies. And they were great. But when you hear the stories of him having lunch with homeless people, where he grabs the lunch or dinner, brings it out to them while they're sitting on the curb, and then tells the paparazzi, guys, you know I'll do anything you want after this. But this is a moment I can't have filmed because
Yeah.
I'm not doing it for that reason. Everybody says, oh, Keanu, you're so great. What a philanthropic thing to do. You're so amazing. It's true. But Keanu's being very selfish at that moment because helping others feeds him. And I'm okay with him being selfish at that moment and getting something out of it because the best interest of somebody else's moment in life is being met and not for Time Magazine or People Magazine going, look what Keanu did. He's so great. No. No. And the world could use a lot more of that right now. I mean, compared to where we are and the shit we're in. I mean, it's all significance stuff. You know, it's 100% what can I get. Meanwhile, you're talking we, but you're feeling I. I mean, that's just, it's such a contradiction in terms. And
Do
then
you
I get,
think that
go ahead.
do you think that there's I mean, I look at going when I was in South America or in India, when I went and spent time with, Ananda Giri and I look at these environments and I pay attention to the way that most people are taking care of one another and they're looking after the benefit of the community. Do you think that there is more on the Western side of civilization that we can do to take care of each other more? Because and the reason I ask this is because I do see that they pay more attention, for example, when we're in meditation or yoga or doing these things that are bringing our physiology to a more elevated or more aligned state and staying in a place where a beautiful state is really powerful and seeing the empowering reason of the lesson that's happening around, even though materially there's not the same amount of abundance, right? uh what do you feel and why how can we shift that level of awareness even more on the Western point of view? Do
A
you
lot of
think there's something?
100%. What's the difference between the Tony Robbins world and the Indian meditation, South American, uh, ayahuasca, all these different things? Like there's one complete difference in what Tony believes, at least that I think he believes, and he could correct me, compared to what these other people are doing through their meditations and all the other stuff. What is the difference between the world that you're so well connected with, all that stuff? And I used one word there that you should have picked up on and listened to.
So I think from my what I'm hearing is the ability to be in a meditative state, and where that state change, people are paying attention to their bodies. And I think that this is what Tony does, by the way. He brings natural awareness of whether you're in ayahuasca or you're meditating in Vipassana. He's tapping us into our bodies to listen to the body.
But he's doing more. What's the next level? He's doing way more.
Well, he's connecting the emotion of it and then allowing to compare the cognitive communication and the stories alongside it.
Great. Those are meditation. Uh, I'm doing this. I've gotten into this state. I've changed my state. I've done this. I, 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 we are connected. What he's so good at is there's a group of people out there, millions of people, who have been in his events that are all part of an exclusive group. And when you tell, I wear this hat somewhere and somebody sees it, I'm instantly part of the group. I didn't ask for it, but there's a connectivity, a conscious line of thinking. So you can do all of this self-growth and self-help. At some point, yeah, you got to kill the self.
Yep.
There's got to be, now that's what Tony's good at is, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Look at his latest movie that came out. Unbelievable. The one that came out in July, unbelievable. On subjects that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
Because we as a collective have got to get better.
Right.
And we're not. I don't know whether it's true or not. United States, we let a bunch of people on the border, and they say there's over 300,000 kids missing. Like, what? Whose fucking watch was that under?
Yeah.
Like, how do you lose 300,000 kids unless you purposefully do it? And when you see movies that he's put out, you start seeing the facts that are happening. 25 miles away from my house, Oceanside, California, they just busted a massive run slavery ring. I can't even believe I'm saying it. A slavery ring in the United States of America. What? But and that's why I think that this whole idea of Master Co, unbelievable. The work that he does, unreal. But I know Co. I know him really well. He is not in it to go, let's help one person find themselves. It's we are all part of a collective.
Thank you.
That's Master Co. And don't ever let it fool you that he doesn't have a violent side. And I'm joking, by the way. So people are going, what? But here it is in action. This is me hitting table tennis with him. I'm blocking against his forehand. 1, 2. Yeah, exactly. You know, he's such a good dude. And it's a
Yeah.
I was in Germany sitting on a wall because the event was going on, like Dickens or something was going on, and we're in Germany and hundreds of thousands of people walking by and people getting on boats. And I just like people watching. And I see people on scooters, and all of a sudden I turn and I go, Co. And he turns around and it's Master Co on a scooter.
Nice.
I go, what are you doing, bro? He high fives, we hug. He goes, oh, I'm just out seeing the city. What a great way to do this on one of these little scooters. You know, it's in his mind, I want to see the city. I don't really care about sightseeing. I just want to see what the city's like because he, you know, he absorbs the energy of the places that he's going to and, you know, and helping people. And, you know, I've seen some crazy stuff where I've had people, you know, I grew up back east where this esoteric meditation stuff doesn't heal people from pain and all that stuff. I'll argue that point any day of the week that it's the opposite. You get what you expect. Your mind will override your body. That's why you have to have faith that when you change your mind, you can change your body. I've had people in chronic pain who I've had a lot of trouble with, and they get a treatment by him, and all of a sudden the floodgates are open. You know, because they had such held, and it comes down to that belief. It comes down to that I'll help others so I don't have to focus on myself or whatever it could be. And once they release that kind of stuff, it's the gates are open. So I'll take help from anybody. I need my life to be easier, not harder. You know, so when I say you got to read Man's Search for Meaning before I will even touch you, let's go. Yeah, but Brian, I'm willing to write you a check for this. I'm like, no, I don't care. You're buying my time. I can't get it back. Would we love more finances? Of course, everybody does. We'd love to. Yeah, okay, for everybody. But I don't want it for the wrong reasons. You know, where it's people selling their soul to not have to do the work. Not interested. I need your commitment to yourself, and then I'll commit to you.
And
So you go.
actually, I actually just wanted to touch on that point of I and we, because I find that because of the experiences of tapping into that relationship with ourselves, we start to identify and recognize the mirrors in each other and the wisdom that's coming through each person and how it starts to interconnect. And that I think is one of the great gifts that I've learned by going on this journey alongside you and Master Co and Joseph and Scott and Tony and Sage and Siri, and you know, all of you are really working as a team in harmony for a greater, more, even more responsible role. And that I see as such a beautiful gift, because it's like when you go to spend time in, whether it's in the anywhere with any leaders or in any indigenous or spiritual leaders, or there's always a group or a team that harmonizes and utilizes each other's skills to move forward as a collective. And that's what I see is like, I was just at Life and Wealth in Fiji. And it's so beautiful because you go through the colonics and the treatments and the food and the dieting, and it really is like an ayahuasca journey. It's the exact same thing. It's except it's all tapping in to the innermost pure nature of ourselves to recognize that we are the medicine. And I think it's beautiful.
What if somebody else didn't think that was beautiful?
Didn't think that the experience was beautiful
No, they
or
heard your
discovering
story.
themselves.
Yeah, look, I have one answer when somebody says something like that. Wow, Eric, thank you for the share. That's great. And you know it's in their head, but I'm different. That'll never happen to me.
Mm,
I think it's corny, some of the Tony Robbins stuff, until they experience it and then they go, oh my God. Like I have a niece that's a psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't remember what her degree is in. She's helping a lot of people. And I sent her something the other day that said, childhood trauma can a lot of times dictate who we are and what we become later in life. And I'll be sending her a message this week that, true to my heart, which is I often think about your story, when you were younger. Nothing traumatic family wise, amazing family, all that stuff, great upbringing, huge opportunities, but it had one defining physical change affected by an animal in the past, that that guides people. When I almost said forces, guides people down a road. And I liked the idea that she went into psychology. But what I have to warn against is make sure, or here's another option, channel your need to help others, but don't forget about yourself. The gift, the opportunity that happened to you at 14 years old or whatever, maybe younger, led you to where you are now. What a gift. What an opportunity. There's a foundation called the Emily Whitehead Foundation. And I suggest you all go there and check it out. It's one of my good friends from the middle of Pennsylvania where we grew up. She had, when I say contracted, right? She came down with leukemia at a young age.
mm-hmm.
She's dead, flat out dead. Dad was at one hospital and he said, Brian, they're going to do a movie about this, because he goes, you know me, Brian, and I've known this kid. I've known his family my whole life, and I can sniff bullshit out from anything. He had an outer body God experience. There's no question in my mind about it. The way he talks about it, the way he experienced it, it was something in my mind said, the hospice care that they have my daughter under, who they are telling me she's going to go, something said, get her out of this hospital, get her over to CHOP, which is Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. At all of the people at the other hospital, very well-known hospital, said, don't go, make big mistake, you're going to kill her, we're going to try to stop you. He basically kidnapped his own daughter, put her in the car, drove her over to CHOP, and had the performance done by Dr. June over there, and it saved her life. Long story is, tens of thousands of people now are being cured from this. She's 10 years post-cancer, leukemia, blah, 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 considered completely cured because of one act. Because Tom was in a position where he heard what he needed to hear and said, now I know this won't sound very because my mind's telling me to say, in his mind, he was like this, fuck this. We're out of here. Now, I know he didn't say that, but because it was a godlike experience to him. And I said to Tom, Tom, I love this story. More people need to know about it. So here's how I'm going to tell your story. My daughter had leukemia. They gave her HIV and it killed the leukemia. Well, anybody that lived during HIV went, yeah, you killed her leukemia, but you gave her HIV. That's not really the procedure. It's the inert version of HIV was on the blood. It built up all the, I'm going to build up all the defenses against the leukemia, re-injected back into the body, and it went to work and just went on a mission. And now they're in remission all over the world from this kind of stuff. Such a profound story, not just because of the result, but because of, in their mind as a family, the religious side of this was amazing. There was a shroud that the grandmother bought or brought over from Rome when they went to visit the Vatican or something like that, or somebody gave it to them. And the little girl was in such leg pain, they were going to, if I remember right, we're going to amputate her legs the next day. They laid the shroud on top of her legs because she was reaching for it. They laid it over her legs. The doctor came in the next day and said, I am not a man of faith in general. Something I'm paraphrasing. But what I just witnessed was nothing short of a miracle. We were cutting her legs off the next day. And it's because it happened to the right person at the right time for a reason. Her family went through hell and back for a reason. And now look at all the people that are saved from this. So I encourage you to look at that. It's the Emily Whitehead Foundation. And I think I have the book. They wrote a book about this. And I don't know if I can find it right now, but well, it's apparently so profound that I can't find it. Okay. But stories like that happen all the time. You know, and you just have to be open to hearing about it. And if you're one of these healthcare professionals that can't see past your own nose, I can't wait until you do. The amount and the profound healing that you'll do from there. I was given an opportunity. I'm not a healer. Like, don't even kid yourself. People that knew me when I was younger, they'd go, oh my God, Brian was such a fuck up. I had so much fun in life. Everything was like farts and poop jokes and stuff like that. To even where my mom would go, she saw me on stage at a couple things. She's like, I never thought you had that in you. I'm like, Mom, I was born to do this. I just worked on a different stage my whole life doing stupid stuff, the class clown and all that stuff. But that's one of the ways that you get people to break their state is, hey, Brian, is your stuff covered by insurance? No, that's why it works. What? What? That's a state change. Does your stuff help with back pain? I've had back pain for this long. I have a degenerative hip. Have you ever worked with degenerative hips? This is one of the greatest statements I've ever heard. I've seen tens of thousands of them, but I haven't seen yours. Let's take a look. It's all about them. And that's not a practiced narrative. That's honestly how I feel. Let me take a look. We'll find out. I'm not going to waste your time, your money. If it doesn't make sense, don't pay me. But when it does, you're 100% in, or I'm not interested.
Yeah.
This isn't dip your toe. You're fucking cannonballing. Because you're cannonballing into your deposits, not into my work, my colleagues' work. You're cannonballing into you, investing in your future self. You know, I did business mastery years ago, and I think the company was called Gilt, Gilt. or the young lady who had a couple companies like that where they go in and, for example, they'll go into your closet and they'll clean out your closets. Now, I didn't think there
Mm.
were, think about that. I didn't think there was a need for you to get into my closet and clean it out. But there are certain things in my closet that every time I do a spring cleaning on this, I'm going, I got to keep that shirt. Well, why? I may wear it. I'll never wear it, but it's tied to something. And she couldn't get a bunch of money raised to do this kind of stuff. And somebody in the crowd said, how did you handle no? And she goes, and Tony was there on stage with her, and I thought it was so cute. He was talking, she goes, I'll answer that. Yes means yes. I'm paraphrasing. Maybe means yes. I mean, it's a maybe, so it's a yes. But what does no mean?
No means I want to do it, but I can't. But my mind is telling me I can't.
When I hear no, like she said,
Yeah.
it's still a yes. It just hasn't happened yet. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another pitch. Like you don't have a choice. You've let me in your life. You let me behind the curtain. Big mistake. You let me help you be in charge of your own health. You better get on, get ready. And that's what you experienced when you called me that one time. And I'm like, yes, of course. Because it was out of the ordinary. This isn't the guy that I know, is what I was going in my head. This is not the guy that I know. This much uncertainty.
Yeah.
That's not the guy I know. The guy I know is the guy I saw last week in Germany. That's the guy that I know. And all of it is because that little crackhead and your father's advice gave you a path. I mean, have you ever told your dad that what he
Told
said
him
guided you?
100%. He knows it every day. 100%. He's such a king in my life, and it was his first time. Him and my mom did UPW, by the way. They did it online while I was there. It was amazing, like to see
And
them.
you
And
got to go
sometimes
on stage.
yeah, and they at the last moment, like at the end, or so many times when I opened my eyes, I was like looking, and it was like I was looking at Tony, but right behind them, it was my parents. It was amazing. It was like a blessing, I'm telling you. I mean, it was a blessing, not like a blessing.
Do you have kids?
No, I can't wait to be a dad. I can't wait to meet an amazing woman.
Okay, great. I agree with you. And when you're looking, she will never show up. So stop looking.
No, I'm not looking. I'm attracting. Yeah.
She'll show up when you least expect it, and you got to be open
Yeah.
to see it. Um,
Yeah.
I joke around with people and I say, well, who loves the child more, the mom or the dad?
Are you
Who loves?
asking me? I would say it's the same. It's the same thing,
Of course, that's what
personally.
everybody says.
Yeah.
You should run for politics. Who had a head start on making and owning and loving that kid?
Mom, 100%,
She
100%.
had a 9-month head start. You'll never catch up, Eric. You'll never catch
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
My wife's in love with my kid. I love my kid,
Hmm.
but I'd kill my kid. I don't mean like kill. If my kid screwed up bad enough, you're catching the elbow to the head emotionally and all that. Like that's who we are as dads. We are protectors. Your father was helpless when you were a kid and addicted, totally helpless. Now imagine being a man and I can't do shit. Totally helpless. That's why I say don't, and you already took care of this, but don't forget about your dad.
Yeah.
because in his succumbing to this and going, if I got to give up my son, I got to give up my son. That's why people like Jeffrey Dahmer's mom, I was blown away the first time I heard her talk about him, which was nothing but love. How can you love such a monster? He wasn't always a monster. And she's picturing the past. So you
Mm.
can understand where she's coming from. Don't understand where he's coming from.
Mm.
Somebody should have introduced him to vegetarianism earlier, I guess. I don't know. Probably would have helped. That's a joke, in case you didn't know. That's a little lighthearted, don't eat another human, joke. But
Brother, you're such an incredible spirit, man. And I just want to really acknowledge. I know that I'm probably going over time right now with you, but thank you for everything that you've been able to help me navigate over the years. And just thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your heart and spirit. Thank you for always contributing and doing what you do, at all these events. I know how much, like me, you really believe in everything that we're here to do and cultivate as a collective. And it's profound that we get to do it all alongside this amazing teacher of ours, Tony. I'm very grateful, that I feel really, really like I get to stand on his shoulders now, in ways, shapes, and forms, not just inside of the community, but I have so much power within myself because of the guidance and the teachings and the blessings that he's just been able to instill in me, and I've been able to now pass on to my parents. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you, bro. And if there's anything that I can do, I'm always here for you. But if anyone wants to know more about Egoscue, I know we kind of went over a lot of things today, but they want to know more about you, Brian, and how can they connect with you? What's the best way to reach out and approach?
well, I talk about this at the events all the time, that I literally am one of those guys that like for real answers my own DMs and things like that. So for example, there's my Instagram at the top. So it's under
Nice.
the Brian Bradley. But on this discussion was a day that I did not want to get into that cold plunge. And that's why I said, what have you done that's tough today?
Yeah.
Versus something like this. This is an easy one to get into. That's an easy one to get into because the heat is such a good thing in people's mind, but it's not tough. I did that because of the colors and what it creates. And from a therapy perspective, if you want to talk about chronic pain and performance and all that, please for sure get a hold of me. Tell me where you came from, ask the question, I'm answering it. After UPW, it took me a week to get through all of my messages, but I got through them.
Yeah.
Because why not? It's an opportunity to talk somebody off a ledge. It's an opportunity to congratulate somebody on the work they're doing for themselves. It leads to different business ideas. It led to an idea in Israel and somewhere in Europe that's now talking about opening up one of our clinics.
Amazing.
There's all kinds of things that come on.
That's brilliant. There needs to be more of your clinics. I'm curious to ask you, Brian, what do you feel like you need most right now?
I don't know. I mean, my honest answer is, do I need something? I don't know.
What about like in terms of the mission? What do you want to do in terms of Egoscue, or
Just
like
share it.
maybe if yeah,
100%
just
share it.
yeah,
Become a zealot. Talk about it. Not for any other reason than forget building business.
yeah,
There are people out there that are seriously suffering, and that goes back to our community talk. Don't just take a talk like this and go, Oh, that was really cool. Okay. That, oh, I agree with that. I disagree with this. One of my therapists asked me, how do I become a better therapist? And I said, shut your mouth. Open your ears and really listen. Don't listen to go, I'm listening for an opening so I can talk again. Really be okay with elevator silence. When somebody says, can you help my hip? Absolutely. But I'm only going to provide you the tools. Can you help your hip? Are you willing to put the time in? That's the question that I really have. And then I wait. I've had people go, no, thank you for your honesty, because you're going to take no more of my time that I can't get back. And I'm not going to take your money and your non-commitment yet. Because what they just said is, do you want to do a Goscu or anything else? No. Well, no means yes eventually, as it relates to taking care of yourself. When they discover their own yes, then they'll come back, because I left the door open. I didn't get mad at people. I had a lady cancel on me for a January event, for a speaking event. And she said, Brian, we're going to cancel on you, blah, 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 blah. Maybe we'll open up something in 2025. I can take that personally and say, you canceled on me. I had that date set. I'm never going to work with you again. Or B, perfect. You just freed up another day in my life that I can do something else. And we will connect down the road. Like, take it seriously. Find another, there's a reason why people do that stuff.
Brother,
Okay.
legend. Take it seriously. I like how we ended with that, you know, and I think that's what, well, actually, with that question, with that finale, I wanted to ask, if you had 3 days left to live, what would you do?
This is almost like, what do I need? If you had 3 minutes left, what would you do?
I'd be
You're
doing
on an air.
exactly.
I've done it. I'm on an airplane. If this is it, I'm good. I'm good. My son said this, he said to me one day, and I was pushing him pretty hard. Like, bro, you got to do better. We got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Dad, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I thought about that statement. If you could change the language, if you really believe you're in control of when you're going to go, good luck with that. Because I'm sure the person that was hang gliding didn't think they were going to hit the side of a mountain at 70 miles an hour. You know, I'm sure when you got up and went to work and you were doing that, I'm sure, or didn't wake up, I'm sure you went to bed going, I have a lot of stuff on my plate. I got to get this going tomorrow. Boom, you're dead. Like, it's, you know, the old saying, be in the present, all that stuff. It's, yeah, it's
Yeah.
called that for a reason. Like, I wake up this morning and cold plunged and drank my bulletproof coffee and said, okay, what do I have? Okay, I have a meeting here. I have another meeting about this company growth. And then I have this podcast to do. Then I got to go film some stuff for the emails that came in from Germany. Then I'm going to go to this place that is one of my Platt Lions is doing a house party for Business Mastery. Today's the last day. I'm going to pop in, surprise visit. And then I'm going to go play pickleball. You know, or none of that's going to happen because I'm going to hit a bridge embankment on the way there.
Exactly.
Like, come on, you don't know.
I love you so much, brother. Thank you
Love
so
you,
much
brother.
for taking the time. It means a lot to me, man. You're a legend, and I'm just grateful for our friendship. I really am.
I appreciate you, and you listen that right back at you, and I appreciate you coming up on stage. If you guys didn't see that, I think you posted it a while ago. I basically beat the hell out of you for a couple hits. I was hitting you pretty hard, and you weren't
Yeah.
moving. I'm like, this guy's an oak tree right now. But that's such a good analogy for people to go, become rooted and centered. You're way stronger, and use the exercises to do it. That's why I tell people, whenever you're in a fight with your spouse, leave the room for 3 minutes and go do the things that I showed on stage. Come back and I dare you to not like them as much as you did 5 minutes ago. I dare
Mm.
you. Okay, buddy.
I'm gonna send you the videos. I'm gonna send you the